Hello, you guys. I have missed you. To you, it's probably like I have gone absolutely nowhere, but I went on a little vacation to LA to visit my sister. Just got back 2 days ago, and I'm just now getting back into swing of like filming content and sitting down talking to myself all the time, and it feels so fucking good. I did film a vlog when I was in LA, by the way, so that video was coming right after this one, but for now, here I am, just me and you, and we're gonna go on a little first date together. So you guys might be familiar with a game called We're Not Really Strangers. If you guys aren't familiar with the game, basically it's like an emotional card game that's supposed to bring you closer to the people that you play it with. There's all these different expansion packs. Long story short, I bought an honest dating expansion pack for my game in 2019, and I never opened it. I bought it when I was like vaguely seeing some guy for 5 months. Clearly we both had very different ideas of where things were progressing because he tried to have sex with my roommate before this got delivered. So needless to say, this has sat in the bottom of my board game drawer since then, and now we're pulling it back out. So I just pulled a couple cards that I thought would be good for like a first date kind of vibe, and figured we could just sit and answer some first date questions together. Do something chill and easy for me to edit for my first video back. Before we get into answering these questions, I want to introduce our sponsor, which is, of course, our friends over at Beducated. If you don't know, Beducated is an online course platform with audio, video, and written guides, all with the intent of enhancing your love and sex life. They've got courses on dating, they've got courses on BDSM, masturbation, the female orgasm, blowjobs, dirty talk, strip teases, literally anything your brain can think of, they probably have a course for it over on Beducated. Beducated is one of those platforms that I find myself recommending to people over and over again because naturally, lots of us, all of us, have a lot of questions when it comes to sex, especially with things that we've never tried before. And it can feel difficult at times to have these conversations with people that you know or with your partners, and sometimes you just want to sort of get your footing somewhere, get a little bit of the information on your own before you dive into having conversations about these kind of things with people that you know. And I think Beducated is one of the best places to do that. I think platforms like Beducated are great not only for getting people the sex ed that they actually want, but also for just sort of creating an environment where having ongoing conversations about sex is encouraged. I've said this before, but like, you're not gonna reach a point in your life where all of a sudden you're like, I know everything there is to know. I'll never have to ask another question about sex ever again. You get older, you have different experiences, you have new questions, but even beyond that, I think a lot of us just want to have a space where we can indulge in learning, indulge in new desires that we have, to learn about desires that maybe we don't have, but our partners have, and we want to explore for them. Trying out new things and feeling comfortable talking about that and exploring it without feeling like totally fucking overwhelmed. The courses over on Beducated are absolutely fantastic. I've talked about so many of their courses at this point. One of my favorite ones of all time is definitely the female orgasm, and also the striptease course, which I'm pretty sure I talked about in my last video that I touched on Beducated with. And of course, I have a code for you guys. You can use code Maddie for 70% off the yearly pass at Beducated. That's 70% off for the yearly pass at Beducated. So please go take advantage of this code. So let's get into the first date questions, and thank you again to Beducated for sponsoring today's video. All right, first question. What is the most attractive quality about someone that isn't physical? I'm gonna give two answers for this, because this is probably what I feel like I am the most drawn to automatically in someone. And these two things are passion and sensitivity. I've always been very drawn to people who are very passionate, driven, goal-oriented people. I love people who give a shit. I love people who just care very deeply about something. When I say driven and goal-oriented, that doesn't necessarily mean for like careers or work. That can mean anything. I love people who care fucking deeply about something and are just passionate about what it is that they do and what they're interested in. One of my biggest turnoffs in someone that I'm going on a date with is if I ask them questions about what it is that they like to do and they downplay it to me and they act like it's stupid and it's not a big deal and it's like a dorky thing, whatever. I hate that. It really does turn me off of a person when they can't like commit wholeheartedly and just embrace what it is that they love, because I love that about someone. I love people who are passionate, who care about something really deeply, and I like watching them get excited while sharing whatever that is with me. I think that's really attractive, and I find it really unattractive when people are ashamed of that part of them or just aren't passionate people at all. I just don't find that I get along very well with people who aren't passionate about something. I don't know. It's like an excitement level. I like people who bring that kind of energy to my life. My second part of that answer, which was sensitivity, I just love people who are in touch with their emotions, who are unafraid to feel angry, feel sad, and to show that and share that. I think it's a really beautiful thing when people are so in touch with themselves and able to express how they feel in a totally shameless kind of way. It just makes me feel comfortable. I love people like that. Boys with dreams who cry. That's my type. Next up, will I find your ex on your Instagram feed? Why or why not? The answer to this is no. You won't find anyone that I've ever been intimate with on any of my social medias, mainly because I've never been in a serious long-term relationship with anyone, so obviously that plays a massive role in it. Not that people don't share out people they've been in more casual relationships with, but it's definitely not something that I have done, mostly because I have a platform and people who like watch me on the internet, so it would just be really fucking weird if I started introducing like people that I'm casually dating and then I have to be like, well, they're gone and they tried to fuck my roommate, so so like obviously I'm never gonna post any of those people. I think it would take a lot for me to share someone out onto my social media and like incorporate them in this part of my life, because content creation and my YouTube channel and all of you guys is like the most special part of my life. It's what I love most in the whole world, and I don't want anyone who isn't gonna stick around to be a part of it. But I'll play along with this question as if I had posted someone on my social media already in my life. Would I keep them on my feed after we break up? And I'm gonna say probably not. I would probably archive photos after a relationship has ended. Not because of anything to do with the other person, hopefully, but probably because I've experienced, even with like going through a friendship breakup while on the internet and having people go back to old Instagram photos of me and this friend of mine and comment things like, oh, I miss this person. Why aren't they in your videos anymore? I miss your guys' friendship, and having to read all those comments being like, yeah, I miss our friendship too. The fuck, stop fucking reminding me of it. And obviously people mean well. People had no idea that we weren't friends anymore when they were commenting things like that. But it was still difficult to read, and I think that naturally when you share so much of your life on the internet and all of a sudden somebody disappears, a lot of people get nosy, and I just don't want people to be nosy. Because if I read any type of comment on like an old photo on my Instagram being like, where is this person? Why aren't they around anymore? Like, I'm gonna cry. So I'm just gonna archive everything so that I don't have to read it. Next up, what has being single taught you about yourself, if anything? Fucking everything. I love this question is like, if anything at all. If there is anybody out there who says that they have not learned a single damn thing about themselves from being single, they need to think a little harder, because I have learned so much about myself from being single. I actually wrote some of this down because I was like, I need to think for a second. I think being single has taught me a lot about how to care for myself, how to check my own goddamn boxes, be my own superhero, date myself. I think it's taught me a lot about how to process loss and loneliness while also being happy and supportive for my friends who are in relationships and who are experiencing that part of life. I think that being single, while a lot of my friends have been in relationships, there definitely was a phase of my life where I was kind of bitter. But I think I sort of grew through that and have learned a lot about how to be happy for other people, feel genuine happiness for other people while you have some sort of lack in your own life, which I think is a very valuable skill that sometimes people do not have. It's taught me a lot about how I want to be treated, both through like the dating that I have done while single and also just being single. I think it's made me reflect a lot on like what I would need in order to make disrupting my peace and my current life worth it. Because I'm at a point in my life now where I am happy with myself, I'm happy with my body, I'm comfortable, I make a good amount of money. I was saying to my best friend the other day that I feel like I have been really channeling my like single aunt energy, who's just like hot and happy and makes a lot of money and has no one to spend it on, so you just have this freedom in life to do whatever it is that you want and not have to worry about anybody else or when you do it or how you do it. My life is beautiful, wonderful, peaceful, very happy with it. And you guys know, you've been watching my Emotionally Unavailable series. I would love more than anything to find the right person to share my life with, but I don't just want anyone, I want the right one, because I'm so happy and my life is so full that I don't want anyone to come in and ruin what I currently have with myself. Like, I want someone with their own life, with their self, to come in and like merge our two solo lives together and add something new to each other's lives. But I really want someone who has established that solo life and relationship with themselves. You know, I just want someone who's in a very similar section of life as me, so we can just merge our two beautiful solo lives together and bring something new to each other's lives without taking away any of the beauty that we've already sort of built up on our own. In conclusion, I think being single and being happy alone has made dating me a lot fucking harder. What are the 3 most important things to you in a relationship? Right off top, the 3 that I would say would be being vulnerable, open, honest communication, saying how you feel, putting everything on the table. Vulnerability, honesty, 1. Number 2, I would say like adaptability and a willingness to grow with each other and through the relationship and actually work on things as they pop up. Because obviously when you start doing life with someone and intertwining so much of who you are with someone, with that comes conflict and change, and I think being able to be adaptable and move with each other is really important. And then lastly, I would say passion. I would say like you need to bring an energy to the way that you love each other, whether that is through like gentle affection and little things like that, or it's sex or whatever it is. I think bringing an energy and a passion to the way that you love each other on a daily basis is important. It is important to me. I want to feel like totally wrapped up and loved, and I just want to be with someone who is excited to be with me and lets me know that, because I will let them know that. And I deserve what I'm giving, period. What did the people who raised you teach you about love? I've talked before about how I've always really admired my parents' love. I actually have a tattoo on the back of my arm of my parents on their wedding day. But I got it tattooed obviously because they are my parents and I love them, but also because I have been inspired by their love and the love that I grew up around. And that's not to say that it was ever perfect. I've definitely learned both good and bad things from observing my parents' relationship. I think on the good side, they've taught me a lot about how fun love should be and should feel. Through observing them, I feel like I've learned a lot about what it actually means to have someone on your team and what it actually looks like for there to be chaos everywhere, for there to be 4 different children having meltdowns about 4 different things, and have the 2 of you just look at each other and be like, none of it matters. I mean, it does, like we've got to fix our crying children, but like we'll get through it together. Like in the midst of so much chaos, you can look at each other and laugh and smile and be like, we have each other, so we'll be okay. So I feel like I've learned a lot about like being a teammate and really having someone on your team, and how fun and easy love can feel even when it's not actually. But also, as the oldest child, I feel like I have gotten to observe a lot of the other sides of my parents' relationship, because as you get older, you see your parents and you can see what they do wrong. I think I have learned a lot from them also about like how difficult it can be when you don't see your partner's love language and how they are trying to show you that they love you. Like if you don't understand, like you can miss out on some of the ways that people are showing you that they care about you if you're not used to that. I think it's funny as you get older and you see people that you love and admire, and relationships that you love and admire, how sometimes even the smallest things they can sort of miss each other on. Like maybe my dad does something and it's clear to me that he's doing it because he loves my mom, but my mom just doesn't see it like that. But you know, those things happen and they're solved pretty easily through communication, which is another thing that I learned from my parents. So yeah, I've learned a lot from them, both some of the good and some of the bad, but overall, I've always deeply admired my parents' relationship and how they raised my siblings and I. What are you not giving enough time to currently? Rest. I have a real problem with overworking myself and just constantly being go, 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 and trying to do everything in the whole world on my own because I know that I can do it. I just don't have the time to do it. I could do everything if there were more hours in the day, but there's not, but I'm still trying to do everything and then therefore I'm suffering. So anyways, it's something I'm working on. I definitely need to get better at resting more, working less, setting strict boundaries with myself in terms of when I work and when I don't, and where work stops and my life begins. When your work is social media, both my day job, I work for a skincare company doing social media, and I do YouTube. I have 2 full-time jobs, and obviously we all spend lots of time on our phones scrolling, doing that, and that's also what I do for a job. So sometimes it's hard to know the difference between like I'm scrolling to relax and I'm scrolling to work. So I've been trying to take more time offline. I've been reading a lot more, which if you follow me on Instagram, you probably know that because I post books all the time now. But that's been me trying to rest more, take more time off my phone and more time away from working, because I will, if I'm on my phone, I will accidentally start working because I have an actual problem. And you know what? You can blame my father for it because he's a workaholic and I have learned everything from him. Admit something. Is there an image of yourself you try to project on a first date that you wish you could let go of? I'll jump right off of my answer for the last question. I think that when people first meet me, especially on dates, I have a tendency to maybe over focus on my career and what it is that I do, because maybe there's a part of me that believes that that's the most interesting part of who I am, and it's not. Sometimes I think that maybe there's a voice inside my head that believes that what I do is more interesting than who I am. And so I talk more about what I do rather than who I am. And it's hard because what I do is who I am, since I'm an internet personality. So it's a hard line to draw. And it's something I think about a lot. And I do wish that I could let go of that, but I'm working on it. Describe your perfect date. I'm not sure that I have a super perfect date in terms of like what it is that we're doing. I'm not a very picky person. Here's the thing. What's romantic to me is when other people decide. I have always been the decision maker my whole life. I'm the oldest sibling. I'm always the person with the plan. I'm always the person organizing everything. I'm always the person making it special for other people. I would like someone to make it special for me. So you know what? My perfect date is one that somebody else puts a lot of effort into, really goes deep and makes it special, and is obvious that they did that, and just surprises me with something that shows that they care. I want someone to give shit about me and actually think about what would be fun for me and do it. And then probably have mind-blowing sex with me afterwards. Multiple times. Over the course of an entire night. And then, I don't know, fall in love with me forever or something. That's my perfect date. What dating advice would you give your younger self? Now this is something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. And I talked about this in one of my emotionally unavailable update videos, you know. I feel like all of those videos are sort of dating advice to my younger self. The video that I talk about this in is titled, "You Can't Say the Wrong Thing to the Right Person." And I've been thinking a lot about that and sort of riffing off that and thinking about, frequently throughout my life, I have believed that I was too much. And if it wasn't one thing, it was the other. Whether it was my body being too much, my personality being too much, I have always just believed that I have been too much. I think something that I've learned a lot, and something that's in the same vein as the can't say the wrong thing to the right person, is that like, you need what you need. You're not too much for knowing that. I am not too much for knowing that I need XYZ in order to be happy. That just means that I have to find someone who can give me XYZ. There are gonna be a lot of people who can't, and that's fine. That means we're not compatible, and that's okay. That doesn't mean that I am asking for too much. It just means that there are some people that are gonna be capable of giving me what it is that I need, and some people that aren't. You need what you need in a relationship, and that is that. I think for a lot of my life, I have tried to shrink what it is that I want and what it is that I actually need in order to feel good. I look back at a lot of the dating situations that I was in college, and I'm like, that was never enough for you. You were never happy with that, but you pretended that you were because you felt like you were asking for too much. Honest to God, to me, I don't feel like I'm asking for a lot. I feel like I'm asking for what I give to other people. And it's fucking easy to give what I give to other people. Shit that always like bogs me down in any sort of conflict that I have had with the people that I've dated. There's always been on the phone with my best friend, like, I don't fucking get it. Like, why can't this person show up and give me what I need? Like, it's so fucking easy. I want to do it for them. And the thing is that like, some people want to show up and give you these things and some people don't. And it doesn't mean that you're asking for too much or that you are too much. It's just, you're different people and you're not compatible, and that's okay. Let's take the conversation of texting, for example. When you are dating someone, casually or seriously, how often do you want to be in text conversation with them? For me personally, I'm not someone who needs to text all the time or even every day. However, I am someone who needs to know that you give a shit about me and that you value my time and our time together. So, you know, there's all these dumb rules with dating where they say that you're not supposed to text within 3 days after the first date. Fuck that. I like knowing that someone had a good time with me. I like sharing that I had a good time with them. And I like planning a second date pretty soon after the first one. You know, we don't need to talk constantly, but I like to have something planned. Let's say we go on a date on Wednesday, and on Thursday, we're both like, yeah, we had a great time. Let's hang out next week. We put on something for next Friday. We don't really have to talk between Wednesday and next Friday if we're not super serious, but it's the planning for next Friday that I need. If I go on a date with someone and they fall off the face of the earth for 2 weeks and then they pop back up like, hey, you wanna go out again? I'm like, I can't do that. I don't need to talk to you every single day. We don't need to be in constant communication with each other, but I do require effort in a timely manner, okay? I need to date people who are going to be forthcoming with their emotions, with what they think of me, and to be present in the dating experience. I know how much communication and consistency I need in order to feel good and secure in a relationship. And that's just one aspect, right? But in summary, if I could give one piece of advice to my younger self, it's just to be clear on what it is that you need and accept what it is that you need, because pretending that you don't need what you need doesn't make it go away. It just makes you miserable. So if you go around pretending like you're okay with the person that you're seeing not texting you for 2 weeks, then you're gonna be stuck dating people who don't talk to you and don't communicate and who make you feel like you are not important. And if that doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. You're not too much. That is just what you need, and it is better that you accept it sooner than later so you can start dating people who actually do meet your needs. I wish more than anything that I could go back and tell my younger self that, because it would have saved me a lot of fucking heartache if I just walked away from the people who could not meet what I needed. Instead, I waited around and cried for 2 weeks until I got the text and I was like, oh my God, they care. And so the cycle begins. And then all of a sudden you're in a 6-month situationship doing friends with benefits with someone who sincerely could not give less of a shit about you. Mama, you are not too much. What you need is not too much. Some people will be able to give you what you need and others will not, and it is best for the both of you if you accept what it is that you need sooner rather than later. And go find it, because you deserve it. Those are all the questions that I'm gonna answer for today. Those are pretty fucking heavy questions. But I would kind of love to have those conversations with someone on a first date. It would super turn me on. Thank you again to Beducated for sponsoring today's video, and thank you guys for continuing to support my sponsors. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, because I am sexy and I have a lot of photos from my trip to Los Angeles that I'm sharing, and they are fucking sick. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.